Teacher Hargie.
Hi, good evening. How are you today?
Not bad. Thank you. You?
Okay. I'm good too. So, are you busy with your work?
No, today I'm flexible.
Wow, okay. So that's a good news, okay? So
Yeah.
it's not a busy and tiring day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can be able to do something, okay? For your
Okay.
family also. Okay? So I'm
Yeah.
going to share the screen now,
Okay.
so that we can start our lesson. Okay. Now, last time we were able to watch a video, right?
Yeah.
And then we watched there about some techniques on how you are going to introduce yourself if
Yeah.
you are going to meet, or if you are going to let others meet client maybe. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and those are a sort of introduction, and we can say that those are formal introductions because they are in a formal party.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this time we are going to practice the phrases that we had learned in there. Okay, so what we have to do would be match the two parts of the sentences.
Mm-hmm.
So, like for example, I'm in charge. Would you kindly read this one?
I'm in charge.
Okay, you have to pronounce charge
Charge.
again. Okay,
Charge.
that's it. So, charge. So, if we are going to say I'm in charge, what do you think would be the next phrase to that? Is it A, with problems, B, of research, C, for sales, D, a big team, or E, to the managing director? So, what do you think would be the correct one? If we're talking about I'm in charge.
I'm thinking about D and E. I'm in charge. A big team, or I'm in charge to the managing director.
Okay, so it could be okay. There is only one correct answer in there. So choose the right answer. Which do you think? So choose among the two. I'm in
Mm,
charge.
a big team.
Okay, that would be letter D.
D.
Okay,
Yeah.
next, what about when we say I'm responsible? Okay, later on, I'm going to show the correct answer. Okay.
I'm I'm responsible to managing director.
Okay, two, the managing director. So that would be E, right?
Yeah.
Next, what about number three? I deal.
I deal with problems.
Okay, so that would be A. What about number four? I report.
I report of research.
Okay, that would be B. And
No,
number
no, no.
five, uh-huh.
Yeah. For I report to managing director. Yeah.
Okay, so that's E. So,
Yeah.
what about the number two?
And
I'm
I'm
responsible.
responsible for sales.
Okay, so that would be C.
See.
And
Yeah.
what do you think would be number five? I manage.
I manage a big team. Yeah. I
Okay,
manage.
so that would be D. So what
Yeah.
about the number one?
I'm
Because your
in
answer
charge
while ago.
research.
Okay. So I'm in charge
Of
of
research.
research. Okay, that would be letter
E.
B. Okay? Now I'm going to show you now the answer. So do you think you
Yep.
got that?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. So when we say, if we're talking about I'm in charge, so following after the phrase
Mm-hmm.
I'm in charge would be of. Okay.
Yep.
That means a preposition of.
Yep.
And if we are talking about that, Later on, I'm going to explain to you what
Mm-hmm.
are the use of this one. Okay, so I'm in charge of research. I'm responsible for sales. I
Yeah.
deal with problems.
Yeah.
I report to the managing director. And lastly, I manage a big team. Okay?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
what do you think would be the use of this one? Because it's very important to understand how to use the preposition. So, these are prepositions like of, like for, with, to, ah. Okay, so a is what we called an article. Okay, so why is
Mm-hmm.
it a? Because the next word is a consonant letter. So therefore, we have to use a. But if the next word starts with a vowel letter, like the A, E, I, O, U, so it should not be a, it should be an,
Okay.
like an engineer. Okay? Like, for
Yeah.
example, I'm going to write that. Let's say an engineer, okay, is different from,
I cannot see the
yes,
screen.
okay, for a while I'm typing, okay, a big team. Okay, look at this one.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, now
Yeah.
we use an article an because following the word following after the article an is a vowel letter, which is e, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I have to put a highlight. Okay, so
Okay.
therefore it's an. But if the article the word following after the article,
Mm-hmm.
if it is consonant letter like B, okay?
Okay.
Because B is a consonant letter,
Mm-hmm.
okay? So we
Okay.
have to use a instead of an, okay?
Okay.
An engineer, a teacher, a lawyer, okay? An astronaut, so it's an because the word astronaut is a
A.
vowel letter, okay? Let's say, for example, an apple. So the word apple starts with a vowel letter A. But
Yeah.
if we say a racket, okay, a racket, because the first letter of the word racket is a consonant letter. That's why we use the article a or a. Okay? Okay,
Okay.
so let's try to explain now the use of I'm in charge of. Would you kindly read this one, you?
Check in
I'm in charge of or charge
in
in,
particular situation.
okay, in a particular situation. Okay, continue.
You are the most senior person and have control over something or someone.
Okay, so when we are talking of I'm in charge of, that means you are already the old, okay, employee maybe. So you
Yeah.
were the first employee because if you're talking about senior person, you are already serving the company for so long. That's why
Mhm.
you are called a senior person. And if we are going to talk about that, we have to use I'm in charge of. Like,
Yeah.
for example, I'm in charge of research.
Search.
Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
We do not say I'm in charge for or to
Yeah.
research.
In
Okay?
general. Yeah.
Because it's wrong if you're going to say I'm in charge to
Yeah.
research. I'm in charge for research. Okay?
Okay.
But for also can be, huh? I'm in charge of or for research.
Okay.
Okay, did you understand? You next.
Yeah.
When we say
I'm responsible for. That
yes.
used to describe a person or thing that costs something or
Okay,
that has the job or managing something is
is followed
followed by
the
the
preposition for.
preposition. Yeah.
For. Okay, so that's why we have to say, I'm responsible for what? For something, and that is
For sale.
sales. So for sales, what else? I'm responsible for auditing. Okay, I'm responsible for checking
Mhm.
the responsible for checking the office equipment. So
Yeah.
for that one, I'm responsible for, let's say for example, for what else? For maintaining, okay? Maintaining the office equipment intact. So that
Mhm.
is responsible for. Now, if
Mhm.
you're talking about,
I deal with
okay,
take part in commercial trading or a particular commodity.
yes. So, what does it mean, you, when we say take part in commercial trading of a particular commodity? So, like for
Mhm.
example, I deal with problems. So, we can
Yeah.
also use this one if we are talking about something. Or if you're talking about a particular commodity, or if you're talking about people or person, right? In charge,
Yeah.
like I work with, if you're talking about I work with the
Mhm.
manager or the managing director, I deal with, okay, I deal with the problems or with problems.
Yeah.
Okay? So
Yeah.
with can also be used if you're talking about people. So I work with the managing director and I deal with problems. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, next. And then when you say I report to,
I report to present on oneself, formally
yes.
as having arrived at particular place or at ready to do something.
Yes. So that means you are reporting to someone, okay? You are reporting to a place. So
Yeah.
present oneself formally as having arrived at a particular place or as ready to do something. So I report to where? If we're talking about to where? To the managing director. Okay, so we do not say I report with the managing director. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. But sometimes you can use this one. Okay? When we say I I went with the managing director. So
Mhm.
you went somewhere together with the managing director. Okay?
Yeah.
Next, I manage
I manage.
a
I manage.
okay.
Yeah.
I manage
Be
a
part of a company establishment or
okay,
taking
undertaking.
taking administer
Okay,
run.
administer or run an office. So, the example of that would be I manage a big team. So, what do you manage? So, it's a big team. Okay? That's why be in charge. So, you are in charge with that undertaking. So, what particular undertaking is that? Let's say if you are managing a big team, so you are having or you are taking charge a big team.
Mhm.
Okay? So that
Yeah.
is it. Now, in this particular exercise that we have you, we of course we can use all of this in the
Mhm.
introduction of yourself. Maybe two in a formal introduction to yourself, maybe to talking to someone like your boss or maybe a client, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're talking to a client, it's very important to use this one.
Yeah.
Okay? Like for example, um, the client would ask you, okay, by the way, you, I would like to know where do you work? So if
Yeah.
that would be the question, so what would be your answer? So where do you work? That means I'm asking of the name of the company because I'm asking where do you
Mm.
work? Okay?
Um, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So what would be your answer to that?
I'm working for oil and gas company as a process as an engineer,
As
as
an
an
engineer.
engineer, and I'm in charge of technical aspect.
Yes, okay. So I'm in charge of technical aspects of the company. Okay? And
Yeah.
then you can also include I'm responsible for.
Uh,
So
for
after telling, okay, I'm working in an oil gas company as an engineer, I'm in charge of technical research in the company.
yeah
I'm responsible for.
for technical.
Okay,
Uh,
technical. Okay, I'm
yeah.
responsible for technical issues, maybe, right?
Yeah. Technical
Okay,
issue. Yeah.
and then I deal
I deal with
with problems of the technical problems, right?
yeah
So I
technical
deal
problem.
with
Yeah.
technical problems. And
Yeah.
I report where? I
I
report
I report to
the.
manager of technical department.
Yeah. So I report to the managing or to the manager of the technical department. Or we can also say I report to the technical manager.
Yeah.
Okay, to be very specific. And lastly, I manage,
I manage gas project and
okay,
gas a gas project.
a gas project. Okay, I manage a gas project. Very good. Okay, so
Yeah.
in introducing yourself, if someone would ask you about that, or if you wanted to introduce yourself, you can use all of these phrases. Okay?
Yeah.
So don't
Yeah.
forget to mention that one. Huh? Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Aside from telling your name, aside from telling the company where you work, you can also tell, especially if you are having a meeting, okay, with the
Yeah.
client. So it's very important to tell the following. Sometimes the client would like to venture with your company, would like them to what is one, would like them to finance in your company because of the what? Because of the people. Okay? Meaning, you are honest enough in telling all the things. So you are very transparent. You are not
Mm-hmm.
hiding something. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Because that is what the client like
Mm-hmm.
or likes. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So do you have questions with this before we have to move on? Do you have any question?
No.
Again, we can use I'm in charge of, I'm responsible for, I deal with, I report to, and I manage a. Is it a
I
team? Is it a company? Is it an establishment? The one that you said a while ago is an establishment, or is it an undertaking, or is it your role that you administer, or if you are running that certain company? Okay, so I manage, let's say for example, I manage an oil gas company. Okay, you can also use that. Okay, so let's try to understand or dig more deeper about the meaning of the following prepositions, like
Okay.
of. So if we are going to use the oft, it is used to what? To show.
Show ownership.
Yes, that means you have to own that. That is, as of now, I am the managing director. Okay, so you show ownership or distance from.
Or a distance from something, or a result coming from something.
Yes. So, like for example, I'm in charge of research. So you are what? You are showing that you
Showing,
own the
yeah,
research.
own, yeah,
Yeah.
own.
So you are
Research.
owning that one, meaning you are in charge of that. So therefore, you are owning that. Okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Next, if you're talking about for, that means
It
to
means to serve
show
a purpose.
purpose. So what is your purpose for? Right?
Yeah,
And or we can also say
a
a
destination.
destination. Where would you like to go for? Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Or an amount of
About something.
something. Like for example, what is that for? Okay? So there is a purpose. There is a destination. There
Yeah.
is an amount of something. Okay? Like for example, I wanted to venture in this particular company because this company show uh, for something. Okay? So what's the purpose of that company? Right? So that
Mm-hmm.
is for. And then we use with to
This means
mean
because of,
or
or
as a
as
result
a result
of.
of.
Yes. So we can also use with, okay, not including a person. Let's say, for example, with you, right? With
Yeah,
you and me. That means you and me, right?
yeah.
So we can use with. Then aside from the using that one in a person, we can also use with in replacement for the word because of. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because of or as a result of. That means what would be the outcome? What would be the result? That
Mm-hmm.
would be with. So, like for example, I deal with problems. So, what would be the outcome of this if you deal with problems? Meaning,
Meaning,
the problem
meaning
will be
the
if you deal with the problems, is it remains a problem or it will be solved?
yeah, yeah,
Yes. Okay, so it will be solved because you deal with that one. So
yeah.
therefore, there would be result of that. So what would be the result? So the result or the outcome will be what? Of course, there would be a negative result. There would also be a positive result, right? So we cannot expect that it's all positive results. Sometimes there would be negative results. Like, for example, you resolve the problem, you
Mm-hmm.
talk to the client, you explain to the client, but they're not wanted to compromise to your company again. So that would be a sad result. Okay?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you talk with them. Okay? You talk with them, but they don't want to venture again because of what happened. And that would be their decision. Okay? For as long as you talk with them. Okay? You next.
Yeah, okay.
Lastly, if we were talking about the preposition to, when
And indicating that there is movement from one place to another.
Yes, so there would be a movement. Like, for example, from here going there. Okay?
Yeah,
So let's
yeah.
say, for example, um, from let's say, for example, from a supervisor to manager. So there would be a movement from one place to another. Okay? So
Position,
two.
another position. Yeah,
Yes. So we can also say the position. We can also say the location. Let's say, for example, you went to.
yeah.
Yes. Okay. So you went to the police. You
Mhm.
report to the police. Okay. You go to your house. So there would be a movement from one place going to the other. We do
Yeah.
not say you move. Okay. You moved off because it's
Mm.
not correct. So we have to say move to.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's two.
Okay.
So these are all prepositions. It's very important to understand you because if we don't know how to use them, it's not correct. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
therefore, in speaking, especially if you are speaking, it's very important to understand, even though these are just simple words, but very important in a sentence.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's try to do this connected speech. So there would be the so-called pronunciation. Okay?
Yeah.
So,
It's
how to pronounce this one? So, we have to pronounce this as,
it's
yeah, it's a
connect
pleasure to meet you.
to meet you. To meet
Yes.
you.
Okay. Would you kindly practice this?
It's a it's a pleasure to meet you.
Okay. Would you kindly say pleasure?
Pleasure.
Okay. Actually, pleasure. Jure. Okay.
Pleasure.
Pleasure. Again.
Pleasure. Pleasure.
Yes. Again.
Yeah.
It's a
It's
pleasure
a
to meet
pleasure
you.
to meet you.
Yes. So it's a pleasure to meet you.
To meet you.
Okay. Now, this would also be another phrase that we can also use. Like, for example, hello, I don't think we've met. I'm Hargie. Okay, let's say, for example, from Hello English, working as a teacher. Okay? And then you are going to use this. Oh, where is it? It's a pleasure. It's
Pleasure
a
to
pleasure
meet
to meet
it's
ya.
it's a pleasure.
Okay? It's a pleasure to meet ya.
Pleasure. Pleasure. Yeah. To meet you.
Yes. Okay? And then after that, you can also say dia. So what do ya do?
You do.
Okay,
Yeah.
would you kind yeah,
Do you do the
dia.
mean the yeah?
Yes, dia. So
What
what
does
do
yeah?
ya do?
What does yeah?
Yes, what do ya do? Again.
What do you do? What
No, we do not say what do you do, but
yeah?
it's more on what do ya
What
what
does
do
yeah?
ya do?
What does
Again.
yeah? Yeah.
Yes.
What does yeah?
What
What
do
does
you
yeah?
do? Again.
What does that do? What does that
Okay.
uh,
Okay, from the start.
is it's a pleasure to meet you.
Okay, so it's a pleasure to meet ya. Okay, go.
What's a pleasure to meet you?
Okay, better. Next, the second one.
What what the
What do
what
ya?
does it
Okay,
what
what
does
do
it
you
do?
do? Again.
What to do? Do?
What do ya? What do you do?
What does you do? What
Yes.
does you do?
Okay. Okay, of course you are going to say I'm.
I'm.
Yes,
Yes.
I'm an engineer.
I'm
Okay?
an yeah, yeah.
Yes. Or you can also say worked, worked. So
Work it. Yeah.
I work at,
I work it.
okay? Or
Yeah.
I working,
Working.
okay? So I
Yeah.
work at, I working.
Yeah.
Okay.
I work it. I working.
Yes. Okay, let's try to do this one from the start. Go.
It's the pressure to measure.
Okay. Pleasure, pleasure,
Pleasure.
pleasure. Again.
It's the pressure
That's
to
right.
measure.
To meet you.
Yeah. What does
So,
that do?
yes, what do you do? So it's a
What does it
question
do?
mark. So what do you do? Go.
What does it do?
Okay. Um, maybe it's not that rising, but it's just only the normal, but not also falling. So what
Mm-hmm.
do you do? So what do you do? So you are
What
asking
does it do?
question, right? So therefore,
What does
you
it
have
do?
to raise, yeah, you have to raise your voice in here, but not too much. It's just a
Yeah.
normal voice, okay? Especially if you are meeting a person, a formal introduction. Okay, so do not too high. That is
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
only a normal range. Okay, what do you
Yeah.
do? That's
What
it.
does it do?
Okay.
What does it
But
do?
if you're going to say what do you do, so is that falling intonation because there are two intonations that we have. We have the rising and we have the
Yeah.
falling. So if you're going to say what do you do, so you are doing the rising intonation. But if you're going to say what do you do, so you are doing the falling intonation. And it's not good to hear if you are
Mm-hmm.
going to use the falling intonation. So that
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
just only the normal pitch. Okay,
Yeah.
especially in a formal introduction of yourself. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but if you
Mm-hmm.
are going to over enunciate also or use a very rising intonation, you're very excited. What do you do if you're going to do like
Yeah.
that? And it's too much.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and it's too
Yeah. Yeah.
much because if you are doing that one, maybe if he or she's your friend, you can do
Mm-hmm.
the most rising intonation. But in a formal situation, in a formal conversation, of course, you do not show your
Mm-hmm.
what is one your eagerness that you want
Mm-hmm.
to know them. Okay, so it's just only the normal. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's a pleasure to meet you. What do you
It's
do?
mhm.
Okay,
It's the
I'm
pleasure picture.
yeah.
What you do?
Okay, what do you do? Okay, that's it.
It's you.
So it should be the stress in here. What the so the
Yeah.
rising
Yeah.
intonation is here in the the. So what the you do?
What does
Okay.
it do? Yeah.
What do you do? Oh,
Does it do?
what do you do? Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, can you do it? Can you do that?
What does it do?
Okay, what do you do? What do you do?
What does it do? What does
Okay,
it
not
do?
does, not does, but the.
Uh,
What do you do?
what does it do? What
Okay,
does it do? Yeah.
what the? Okay, we don't.
What the? What the?
I hear an S, so you
Uh,
have to omit the S. So what the?
what the? What the?
Yes, what do you do?
What does it do?
Okay,
Okay.
next, I'm an engineer. I'm
I'm
a
I'm an engineer.
okay. I'm an engineer, and then I work at
I work at oil and gas
oil
company.
gas company. I work in
In oil and gas company.
okay. Okay. So you can also replace other phrases by this one. Especially in meeting a person, it's very important to greet first your
Mm-hmm.
person, okay, or the other person. Let's say, for example, you have a guest and you wanted to meet him. Oh, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
oh, it's a pleasure to meet you. My name is Hieu. My name is Hui. And what about yours? Okay.
Mhm.
And then after
Okay.
that, she's going or he's going to introduce himself also. And then you can ask a question, what do you do?
What does it do? Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And the person would also reply, I'm a teacher. Okay. What
Mm-hmm.
about you? What do you do?
Mm-hmm.
So you are going to say also, I'm an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm an engineer. Yeah.
Yes. Where do you work at? Where do you work at? I work
I work
at
at I work at
Olga's company.
oil and gas company.
Okay.
I work
So
at
that is how you are going to, of course, to include from the introduction. So there
mhm.
are a lot of ways in order for you to open the introduction, not just only by just saying this one, right? Not
Yeah.
just only by this one, but you can also change. You can also
Mhm.
include the
Mhm.
one that we
Okay.
discuss in here.
Okay.
Okay, you. So I
Okay.
guess it's already time now.
Mm.
So thank you so much for your time. So
Yeah. Thank you.
the things that we had discussed today is all about prepositions on how to use in charge of,
Okay.
responsible for, deal with, report to,
Sure.
then manage a big
And it's
team.
yeah.
Yes. So these are the things that we should have to remember. And of course, how we are going to pronounce these verbs or these phrases. Okay?
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. I will
So
practice.
thank you so much for your time.
Thank
We'll see
you.
you again. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, teacher
Yeah.
Hazi,
And on
tomorrow we start at 9 p.m. or 9:30? 9, right?
yes, it's 9
Ah,
tomorrow.
okay.
Could it be
Okay.
okay? Is it okay for
Okay.
you?
And on
On
Thursday
Thursday
and
and
Friday,
Friday, you're
I
off.
have visiting trip
Yeah, yeah.
to another place, and
Yeah,
I
it's okay.
cannot join that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay. No problem about that because I was informed already, huh? Okay?
Okay.
So, bye. Bye for now. Bye for now. We'll see you
Okay.
again
Thank
tomorrow.
you,
Okay?
teacher Hazi.
Bye-bye.
Good night.